Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Mash and Drum Whiskey Room. Jason C. is here. I am back. Ready to have a really good night with you guys and talk about a lot of really amazing things that's happened in the last, 48 hours. It's been an incredible last couple days, with yesterday being my birthday and everything that, kind of transpired during that day, which we will talk about, and even the day before. It's been an incredible beginning to the week, but a little bit of back to reality, and glad to be back tonight after a little bit of some time off last week, which was sorely needed. But tonight we're going to make up for it. We're going to go through some incredible whiskeys tonight. Also talk about my incredible experience at Ross and Squibb / NGP. Honestly, it's kind of a Willy Wonka experience, trying to being able to visit there and seeing what happens behind the curtain at Ross and Squibb. It's definitely a different type of experience, different type of distillery experience that you would think if you've visited any other distillers in Kentucky, and even other distilleries outside of Kentucky. It was really interesting, but just amazing. Lux Row as well the day before. Got to hang out with some amazing whiskey tubers, collab on a lot of barrels that will be available soon, probably around the holidays. Some stuff that hasn't even come out yet. So really exciting stuff for everybody to talk about. Plus, tonight I figured we'll do some double bass matchups. A lot of people have been giving me a lot of suggestions to do some of them. So I figured we'll do some of them live tonight in hopes that next week, I'm hoping to get Nancy Fraley on. If she's able to come on, that would be amazing. We'll see. And yeah, so a lot to catch up on tonight. But first, really, thanks for all the birthday wishes, guys. A lot of you in the chat that have been supporting the channel for a long time reached out, sent me messages, whether it be on Facebook, Instagram, whatever it is, and I really, really appreciate it. It was very thoughtful, made me feel very special yesterday. And with that, let's say hi to some people in some chat. Let's say hi to people in some chat. Yeah, there you go. Let's see. Greg Gronoff was first. He says now Creek Bourye versus the High West Bourye 2023. Greg, unfortunately I don't have a High West Bourye 2023, but I was thinking of putting it up against the Wild Turkey Unforgotten, so we'll see how that works out. And there you go. Kenneth already said throw in Unforgotten as well. So thanks to Kenneth. We got JG is here. William Wiley, 4-Leaf Whiskey. How are you, Stacy? Let's see. 96 Milliman is here. EMC, what's going on, Emily? Nice to see you as always. We got Michael Speakerman in the house. What's going on, Mike? Stephen Walt, the best beer in the business right there. Cheers. We got A-Brod. Let's see. Who else we got? We got Tim, as always, looking gorgeous. Happy Whiskey Wednesday. Hope you had a great 4th. Yes, hope everybody had a great 4th as well. Josh Fritz is here. Russ L. Also here. Sandeep Chima. Jeff Perkins. We have Tim Cornet is here. Josh Fritz. Justin Jenkins. Wendy is here. What's up, Wendy? The Love Boat Captain. I like that. Roger Reese is here. What's going on, Roger? Nice to see you as always. J Day is here. We got Wayne Booker. We got Saucy Shane is here. Everett Jarvis. What's going on, buddy? Hope Florida isn't too hot for you. We got Steve A. What is going on, Steve? Nice to see you. OG Steve A is here. Jacob Dibwad. He says, cheers all. First time being able to watch the live stream in real time. Usually out working. Cheers to you, Jacob. Thanks for coming in for the first time tonight. Glad you're able to join us here in the chat. Dr. Sped is here pouring some Smokeye Hill. We'll dive into that a little bit. Giselle's Boston is here. We got Don Prince. Whiskey Tornado. Lance, the legend, is here, folks. We got Nathan Jurgensen is here. LaForey Carchis is in the glass tonight. I've been hearing a lot of great things about the 2024 edition. Definitely looking out for that one. Devin Reichens is here. We got Donner Pass Whiskey. Happy birthday, Jason. Thank you so much, Donner Pass. Another old school name in the chat. James R. Valentovich is here. We got James Lay, Tim Romero, and a bunch more people coming in. We got Donald Majors. Martell is here. What's going on, Martell? Nice to see you, man. And I'm just trying to catch up to the chat. My goodness. We have Ben, Whiskey Uncensored, is here. William Kavanaugh, what is going on? Whiskey Problems, WD Hare is here. It is Shona Marie D. Nice to see you as always. We got BT Yo, all you amazing peace. Love to see Brian Tracy here. Let's see here. LOL Smokeye. TCT. getting into the game over. Be careful with that stuff. Scott and Suzanne is here. What's going on, Scott and Suzanne? 221 and a bunch more people coming in right now. B Bourbon is here. Tommy D is here as well. So Paul G is just returning from Ireland. Had a lot of good whiskey, I can imagine, in the land of good Irish whiskey. So yeah, let's get into our first pour tonight, because I think a lot of people have been wondering about this one. I literally just picked this up yesterday. I was on the hunt, leaving Louisville, Kentucky, heading back home, and yeah, I decided to stop at Party Source because I wanted to try to find this bottle right here. Activate the bottle cam. There it is, guys. The Bourbon and Rye Knob Creek, or Bourbon times Rye. There you go. Check out that proof there. I got 113 proof on this beauty. Now, as far as the details go, it's an interesting blend. So we have a fusion of 30% Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey that's 9 years old, and a 70% Kentucky straight rye whiskey that's 7 years old. And yeah, this is one I remember seeing the label for this a long time ago. Was really wondering how good this could be. So yeah, so we're gonna try it next. Big Vic, Master Joe, got my Genie shirts. Awesome, man. Saw it in Louisville 2 weeks ago, but guess High West has trademarked Bourye. Yeah, I don't think you could just use bourbon. You could just use Bourye. You have to use, this is Bourbon times Rye. So here, there's also the details are right there on the side of the bottle too. If you could see that, just kind of shows you there the details. And again, 113 proof. Interesting proof point on this one. So let's dive into this first pour, guys. Again, let me know down, or let me know in the chat. I should say, not down in the chat, but in the chat, if you know what you're sipping on. Oh, we got Dusty Dan is here. Oh my goodness, Dusty Dan, got to hang out with him for the last couple of days. Again, we'll talk about that. But yeah, I don't think this has hit. I think somebody had mentioned hasn't hit Ohio yet. I don't think this has. So Epic Scars, bro. We'll see if we could find it eventually. But I was just lucky enough to run into this. So, all right, let's give it a try. Mo Hobbs has some Kings County single barrel. Already have 224 people in the chat watching. Thank you guys so much. Let's see here. And, you know, please hit the like button while you guys are hanging out. Helps the channel. Helps me continue to climb to 100,000 hopefully here by the end of the year. Master Drum, please do your own KC bourbon and rye to compare. Oh, like my own blend to see how it goes. Yeah, I could do that. Could do that. Oh, I think let's see here. We have Stephen Walt is sipping a sample of George T. Stagg. My first time trying GTS. Oh, Stephen, that's a that's a bold whiskey to start with tonight. All right, so first thing on the nose, I think more of the rye it comes out. I mean, I think there's a lot of black pepper and a lot of citrus immediately from the rye whiskey. There's definitely a grassiness to it. Ooh. A little bit of oak. A lot of rye bread, though, on this, too, for me. Get that, just that breadiness. Yeah, we got some things to talk about with the Smokeye Hill. We'll go through it. Yeah, this is mainly, at least right now, this comes off more like a rye whiskey on the nose. So I think the percentages with it being more rye heavy, 70% of the blend, I think that's pretty prevalent on the nose. But let's see what we got on the taste. Cheers, guys. Here we go. That is a sweet little bread, a sweet little blend right there. I almost said sweet little bread. It's a sweet little bread blend. I said bread again. Lily says, hit the like. Hey, Lily's here. What's up, OGMJ? Brad Tanica. High West owns the Bourye trademark and also one for Son of Bourye. Man, so coming off the nose, which does come off a little bit more on a breadiness, a little bit more rye heavy, grassy, citrusy, a little bit more black pepper, kind of a black tea, like an unsweet iced tea type note on the nose. And then it just kind of converts into almost a sweet tea with, orange and lemon on the palate, with a nice little sweetness to it. Then the finish kind of ends with like a sugary sweetness, a little bit of a powdered sugar type note. All of a sudden, it gets really sweet on the back end here. I got to tell you, that's a nice little blend. I don't think this is anything, mind blowing. I think I forgot who said it in the chat to see if I can blend my own. I feel like this is something you might be able to blend on your own if you have your own, Knob Creek rye, and obviously your own Knob Creek bourbon. But yeah, I mean, if you don't want to buy 2 bottles and get this, it's pretty delicious. It comes off a lot sweeter on the palate than it does on the nose. Like I said, the nose is mostly rye forward, but then the palate kind of balances out into more of a bourbon, kind of a high rye bourbon type profile. So, but I dig this. Now, this is priced for, I believe, 60 something dollars. Oh no, this is $45. About $45 where I found it. Okay. So that works. I mean, still a good price. But again, if you don't want to buy 2 barrels to make your own blend, this is actually kind of nice. I wonder how many blends and percentages they went through until they landed on 70-30. Finn's take with CB83. Picked up a Russ Reserve 15 and Old Forester 10. Hell of a Wednesday. Damn, that is a hell of a Wednesday. All right, so the more I sip it, the more rye is actually coming forward. This is more of a rye drinker's. I'm not going to say, Bourye, whatever. I'll say Bourye. It's more of a rye drinker's Bourye. It's more rye heavy than it is bourbon, to be honest. Now, blends can be weird. If this gets some more airtime in it, it sits in the bottle a little bit more for a length of time, it could change. It happens with blends a lot. Unless you're working with a blend, that's been sitting and mingling for, over a year and it's kind of done all of its time. Not sure how long this sat before it was released, but stuff like that can happen. So it's just a matter of time to see how this opens up. But I think it is definitely more rye forward. The percentage makes sense, being a 70% rye versus a 30% bourbon. So we got Big Vic with the first super chat of the night. Just picked up that Smokeye Hill. Holy poop. That's a really goodie. An interesting bourbon. So you have any stats on that, Jay? We'll get into it, Big Vic, for sure. JG, top dog. The price and proof suggests they really did just do a 70% care. Yeah, I mean, that's what it seems like. It just seems like they took their 2 flagship bottles, blended it together, and threw it in another bottle, which is basically what they did. It would have been nice to see them do something with a higher age with this blend, and something that's a little bit more off than something you could find on the shelf. Because a 7-year rye and a 9-year bourbon, those are basically their 2 shelfers. Now, if they used, their 10-year rye, which I know is available, and a higher age bourbon, I would have been interested to see how that would taste. But I'm guessing doing something like this is probably a little bit more cost effective for them. That's why they could keep the price a little bit lower. So all those different things kind of factor in, to the pricing of it. Yeah, it's all rye up front. We get a nice punch of sweet mid palate, which suggests, the bourbon notes, the citrus, the vanillas, a little bit of powdered sugar, and then right on the back end, it kind of ends with another punch of rye grain and like that black pepper, that black tea note on the very, very end. But I still think it's more sweet than it is spice to me, but the rye whiskey notes are prevalent. So, all right. I'll just keep, now I'll put this one aside. Or should I? What should I do here? Oh, yeah, let's talk a little bit about the last 2 days. which was nuts. But first and foremost, let's take a look at some of the pours we got going tonight, guys. Look at this lineup. I think what we're going to do is take the Smokeye Hill, put it against the George C. Stagg. That was one that a lot of folks wanted to see. Everybody wanted to put the Russell's 15 versus, you know, a bevy of challengers to see how it does. Friday, I'll finally have the quadruple bass that everyone's been asking me to do that I've been trying to get to. Like I said, work's just been crazy, which is the Russell's 15 versus Russell's 13 versus Generations versus Single Rickhouse Camp Nelson F. So we'll see how all that goes on Friday. But if there are any singular matchups you want me to do that are different than that tonight with Russell's 15, I could certainly do that for you guys. So Norseman's Only Drams, happy birthday again. Thank you so much, man. Best bourbon, in your opinion, so far, do the first half of the year. Fin steak with CB83. You know, I hate to be a homer here, but that Russell's 15 is really ridiculously good, and I love it. So I think it's the number one whiskey that stands out. However, if you don't want to pay $250 for a bottle of that or even higher, I think there are also some really great budget bourbons that released this year. I think the Jim Beam Black 7 was a very impressive bourbon for the price this year. The Green River Full Proof, it's hard not to keep, you know, chiming in on that bottle of how good it was or how good it is, especially for the price, because it's been taking down some heavy hitters in blinds lately. So I think that one's a huge release this year. I can't say I've been really impressed yet with the Elijah Craig Barrel Proofs this year. We'll see what the C batch brings. Bardstown Amroot, I know it's an expensive bottle and it's a little bit different, but that bottle for me is definitely a top 5 whiskey as well. So there's definitely some good ones here. Kind of out there, but Russell's Reserve 15 versus Little Book 3. That'd be kind of cool. Russell's 15 versus your favorite recent Four Roses LE. Oh, that's a good matchup, actually. Cheers, Jason. I got that great sample pack the other day. Thanks for the hitters. Oh, enjoy it, man. Is Matt here? Holy shit. ADHD Whiskey is here. Damn, dude. Thank you so much. I haven't seen him in the chat in a while. No, he's been busy as well. Matt, always great to see you. Appreciate it, dude. We got to catch up, man. I miss chatting with you, dude. 90.90K. You're getting there, Jason C. Yeah, slow and steady. Yeah, we talked about that. The KC12 and KC10 might be interesting, both 100 proof. Oh yeah, I could see that. What is the double bass as Fry or Pop? So basically, double bass is a series I do on my channel. Double bass, it's kind of a drumming term when you have two bass pedals and you're doing a double bass drum with your 2 feet. So I like to take two whiskeys, put them head to head, and see which one I like better in a direct comparison. Sometimes I do a triple bass where it's 3 whiskeys, and sometimes I do a quadruple bass where it's 4 whiskeys. I never like to go really higher than that because then it just gets ridiculous, as if 4 is not ridiculous enough, but at least we could do it. And it's a lot of fun. It's just a good way to gauge, you know, certain whiskeys against one another, see what you like, see what you don't like. I think it gives some people kind of a roadmap to what they like more, because I could like a specific whiskey on one side of the coin because my palate likes this, but if you kind of on the flip side of it, if I don't like it as much as the other one, I could still kind of provide a roadmap of some of the flavors I'm getting on the other one that some people may like more. So it's just a really good way to, you know, to do a comparison. Let's see here. Latest Larceny Barrel Proof is delicious, says Epic Scar. I have to agree with you. We'll talk a little bit about that bottle tonight too. Loving the new Beam 7. Yep, for sure. I prefer a Centurion base. Of course. World's Worst Bourbon Channel in the house. Guys, if you haven't seen any of the great content coming from Mr. Gary Franchi, the franchise, you must watch it. More than 4 in Jason Falls. That's a true statement, John Cloud. True statement. But yeah, wherever ADHD in the house, dude, give me a call this week if you have a chance, man. I'd love to catch up. All right, so let's talk a little bit about my experience here the last couple days and how special it was. I won't go to too much detail on it, but I do have some photos to share with you guys because I think we were told we were only the fourth group ever, the fourth like public group ever to get let into MGP and see what we saw. So, which is pretty incredible. So essentially how this all shaked out was one of our distributing partners, shared pour in partnership with Bourbon Concierge. I don't know if you guys know Jay, also known as Take, from the R Bourbon Reddit. Basically, he's a really close friend and a close partner as far as like distributing some great whiskeys, to our members and stuff like that, and just being an incredible person overall. And honestly, when the invite came out, like, hey, we're going to go to MGP and you guys are going to get to tour it, we were absolutely floored. I couldn't even believe it was happening. And on top of that, it was happening on my birthday, which was really cool. I'm just gonna, I'm gonna pour real quick. Speaking of the Larceny, let's do the B524. And we'll do our first quick double base tonight. We'll do a little Larceny B524 versus B523, which I think somebody has suggested in my Patreon. But let's put the B523 aside for a second. I'm going to sip on the B524. Now, for those of you that don't know, this is 125.4 proof. My review for this one will drop tomorrow, my full review. So you guys will get to see that. So yeah, we were able to, well, the first day started, we got there Sunday, and we got to hang out with, so all the channels involved included Chad and Sarah from It's Bourbon Night. We had 21090, we had Andy and Todd that came along. Scott, my partner in crime for my bourbon journey, came along for the ride as well. Plus we had Chris from Bourbon of the Week. We had, well, we didn't have both of them, but Josh from Stuff and Whiskey was there. We had a great time. Dusty Dan was there as well. And it was an absolute blast just to be amongst those incredible whiskey friends and been able to experience that. So we got there and we were kind of greeted by the folks at Penelope. We went to Lux Row the first day. We got to do a bunch of different picks at Lux Row, tour the facility, go into some of the rick houses and see what they got going on at Lux Row, which is pretty exciting. Now, Lux Row is a distillery I've been to. I'm sure some of you guys in the chat have been to Lux Row in Bardstown. It was really, really great. And we were they really rolled out the red carpet, the food, and the amount of whiskeys we picked was insane. So no joke. The first day at Lux Row, we sampled, I want to make sure I get the number right here because it was insane. We sampled, did I not post it there? Where did I post it? Oh, I know where I posted it on the Instagram. So yeah, let me go to my post here because I think I had written down all the numbers from, let's see here. So yeah, so we had 46 barrels of whiskey that we tasted. 46 on day one. That's right, 46 barrels that we tasted on day one. It was nuts. 46 different barrels. And what we got to select from, we sat in this huge room at Lux. If you've ever done a pick at Lux Row, they have like that cool house to the side. And that's where they do, it's like their heritage house, and that's where they do a lot of their barrel picks. But because we had so many whiskeys to choose from, we had to like jump from room to room. It was crazy. So yeah, it's definitely a antibiotics type day. Yeah, it was the Stone House. So yeah, only 46. So what we selected is stuff that hasn't even hit the market yet. And this was the exciting part. And I'll go through what we selected here. Because this was not expected from Lux Row at all. So what we selected the first day. So first we got to try Rebel at 110 proof. Now you're like, Rebel 110, that seems weird. So Lux Row is working on some finished products with different stay finishes, much like what a Maker's Mark does. So the first one that we got to try was a Rebel 110 proof cask finish, and that ended up being a mocha finish on that, which is stuff they haven't released yet. I believe it was vanilla, mocha, and what was the last one on that one? I want to say maybe cinnamon sugar or something like that. So they have, and they got these dialed in. They're not overly finished. They only stay in there for, you know, a few weeks just to get that little accent of flavor. Then we picked a straight up Rebel 120 proof barrel. Then next we had to pick our Ezra. So we went with an Ezra 110 proof, also cask finish, but 3 different cask finishes. They had a caramel honey finish. They had I think I said the cinnamon sugar, but the one that we selected was a French oak dark chocolate finish on that one. So yes, cinnamon sugar is the other profile. Yeah, sounds amazeballs. And some of these, you know, it's kind of the early stages for these picks, but they rolled out the best barrels that they said that they had, as far as, you know, that are the ones that they have that are like stave ready. So, and it was tough. So with all those pallets in the room, you would think that it would have been, you know, pretty tough to kind of kick out some barrels, but we were pretty adamant. We were kicking out, you know, we don't like this one, we don't like that one. And even though we didn't like it, it was still a good barrel, but just some were a lot, you know, more hitters than others. So we went through that, did that. Oh, there's 21090 in the chat. I did not pick my favorite Amburana. Yeah, and for those of you that are like, I don't know if I'm crazy about those finishes. The finishes are extremely delicate. It's just there enough to kind of accentuate it, and, you know, kind of bring out some other flavors. They are definitely not overdone, because on the side they also had just the whiskeys with those finishes on it, and the finishes were very light. It wasn't like overly done like you get with some other, you know, whiskey finishes. So that's why I could appreciate it, because as soon as I saw like cinnamon sugar, I'm like, don't give me that Amburana shit. I don't want it. So after we picked all those, we also picked a Yellowstone single malt, single cask. We picked a Penelope cask strength rosé finish, which was probably one of the more impressive whiskeys we had that day. But the most, how do I word this? The whiskey that I was most impressed by was the Old Ezra 7-year rye single barrel pick. The Old Ezra 7-year rye that we picked was, I don't know if it was my favorite of the day, but it definitely impressed me the most of the flavors that came out of that barrel. It was incredible. So, I mean, that was just the first day. And then the second day we went to MGP. Yeah, the Old Ezra 7-year was bonkers. Absolutely. So better than the Maker's Stave stuff. Yeah, I mean, that's a good question, Nathan. I mean, I think we were trying so much stuff. It's hard to kind of gauge that when you're in the moment. You could probably make an argument that some of the private selects were better than some of the state finishes we tried at Ezra and Rebel. However, there's probably some of the ones that we tried, the ones that we picked, that we like better than some of the other stuff from Maker's Mark. There's probably because Maker's Mark has all those different combinations you can do. These are a little bit more straightforward, but they're also, I think, more delicate than the Maker's Mark finishes. But we'll find out when we get these barrels. So let's show you guys some pictures here. Because then the next day we had a really early morning. We had to get out of there, and we had to be at MGP at 9:30, or Ross and Squibb, I should say. And when you talk about Ross and Squibb, you know, you're basically talking about, 210 says hard to say. You're basically talking about, you know, Lawrenceburg, Indiana, which is about an hour and 40 minutes from, you know, from Louisville. So we had to get up early, get on our bus, get over there, and then enjoy our day. And then once you kind of get there, this is kind of what you're looking at. You kind of get there. Seagram's Distillers since 1857. It's all there right in front of you. And you might think like, man, that just looks like a power plant. And it does. It does. So as you kind of see, you're kind of walking through the different, you know, just the different buildings. You're walking in between. The biggest thing that you notice with Ross and Squibb or MGP versus other distilleries that you go to, this place is not built for tourists at all. If you're used to going to like a Lux Row, and they have a visitor center and this beautiful gift shop and this beautiful bar and the glasses and the experience, and you can buy t-shirts, and you can, you know, have a video presentation and a tasting at the bar. That is not what Ross and Squibb is. This is as old school as it gets. It's extremely industrial, and it almost gave off like a steampunk type of vibe to it. Everything, all the machines, all the different things that make this place run, you could see, you could hear, you could feel, you could touch. I mean, everything is just out in the open. It's not hidden, not everything. Even though we did get to see the control room, obviously they wouldn't let us take pictures in the control room because a lot of that information is proprietary, or all of it is. But it was like the best like evil lair ever. Just like screens everywhere, fermenters bubbling, and all the mash tuns working. I mean, incredible stuff. Speaking of the mash tuns, here's one of the rooms. I mean, just goes on for days and days and days of just that you're seeing right there that's fermenting is 95.5 rye. So that was what was in those fermenters working right now. The room just smelled amazing. As we worked our way through it, they also led us into down in the bowels of the rick house. Now, normally rick houses don't have downstairs or basements, but we got to go into an old Shenley warehouse and get down all the way into the basement to find some of these other barrels that were hanging out down there. And it was obviously extremely cool, a lot cooler than it was outside, which was like 95 degrees that day. We were all sweating through our clothes. Then this is one of their ironclad rick houses. You could see how vast it is. We were also told that the biggest rick house they have holds about 250,000 barrels, which is insane when you think of the amount of barrels that these guys pump out. You have, let's see here. This is the guy who led the whole tour, Ian Stursman. Absolutely brilliant. He's been on the channel before. If you guys haven't seen that interview, please go back and take a look at it. He's an absolutely brilliant master distiller, and the stuff that they do is just so different than some of what the modern distillers do. Not all of it, but like I said, everything is very industrial. It is not set up for tourism whatsoever because of where it is. I mean, it's literally in Lawrenceburg, Indiana. It's kind of in the middle. I'm not going to say it's in the middle of nowhere, but I think their footprint is almost a mile. So the place is massive, and they just don't have kind of the capacity to, be letting in visitors. Like for us, it was a very unique tour, and we got to see a lot of things that not many people get to see. And then here are just some of the, this is the tasting room we all went into. You could see the size of that table, all the glasses that were laid out for all of us to pick from, another 30-something barrels that we got to choose from. And these samples were absolutely incredible. And then here's some fun pictures, guys. There's me with the guys. There's me with 21090, Andy and Todd hanging out. Love these guys. Here's the whole group of us. There's all of us with Ian Stursman. All of us got to choose just some incredible. This was when we were done doing all the selections, and it was just insane. And then a last cheers at the end of the day when we all wrapped up and chose all those barrels. It was just incredible. I don't really know what else to say. I'm not really sure how to even explain, everything that we saw, all the whiskeys that we saw. It was incredible. It was really crazy. 250,000 barrels. Who didn't want to try the Rebel and Ezra Stay finish the other day? And here you are, says GW Gamble. Yeah, GW. I mean, honestly, GW, I didn't know what those were. So I didn't really know what those were until we got on site. So the glare off my bald head. Damn. Yeah, sorry, Carrot Top. Awesome picks. Thanks for sharing. So what did we choose at MGP? What did they let us pick? Well, here we go. So what we got was, first was barrel number 531, which was a Remus bourbon, 118 proof. This was their highest rye bourbon, 51 corn, 39% rye, and 10% malted rye. 5.5 years old. Coconut, pineapple, jalapeno, sweet, just a crazy concentration of flavors. It was pretty insane. Number 3 was also a Remus. And this bottle was gifted to me by Ian Stursman for my birthday. and he just pulled out the entire bottle for me to have, because I love this bottle so much. Probably my favorite pick of the day was this bottle right here, and it's getting close to switching over, William. They were talking about it. It's really close. So this is that 7.5 year. Now this is the same mash bill. This is their highest rye. That's their highest rye bourbon. 7.5 years old. It's in the old Shenley. It was aged in the old Shenley warehouse. 110, 113 proof. They didn't really have the proof yet for it, but it was the same mash bill. It's that 51 corn and 49 rye, with 10% of that rye being malted rye. Then we got to pick a Rossville Union. So a Rossville Union lowest rye, which was a 51 rye, 45 corn, 4 malted barley. That was 6 years old. That was barreled on, 9/2018, so September of 2018. Then we picked another Rossville Union, which was from 2015. And that was one of the sweetest, indulgent type of rye whiskeys I've ever had. Just so those 4 barrels are absolutely incredible. These are, again, barrels that were hand selected by Ian Stursman and rolled out for this special occasion. All of these barrels will basically be split up between all the channels towards the end of the year, and we'll all get an allocation of each. They'll basically split up all the cases of all the barrels, and basically each group will get their own to offer to their patrons. And essentially, these will come out around holiday time. So while everything will be split, you could probably, now we don't know obviously how many bottles per barrel. He didn't have that information. Nobody did. But you'll figure it could be anywhere from 180 to 200 bottles total that each group will get of all these mixed picks that we're going to be releasing. So stay tuned for all that. But where will the bottles be after Patreon? I don't know yet. We have to see how this all goes. It will be all through Shared Pour, through our partner. And but again, no toasted barrel proof pick or Heaven Hill bottled and bond pick. No, we didn't do no Heaven Hill stuff. Everything was focused on Lux Row and also Ross and Squibb. So that was, I mean, they're parent companies now, and they're all under the same umbrella, so that made sense. That's why we were able to get into Ross and Squibb. But again, seeing an industrial, plant, it just looks like a power plant when you pull up to it. I think the next plant over is like a sewage plant. So again, when you're talking about, they got to open up NGP to the public, you need hard hats. It was miscommunicated to us that we needed to wear pants. We didn't know we had to wear pants yesterday. And it was like 95 degrees. You're going in these steam rooms. You're going in the fermentation rooms, the still rooms. Everything is boiling hot. It's like 120 degrees in those rooms. We were drenched. But you have to wear closed-toed shoes. You have to wear jeans. I thought at some parts we were going to have to get a hard hat on or something like that. I mean, it isn't as industrial as it gets. This is not, going to the new Bullet facility or any of these other newer, or Bardstown Bourbon Company. It's the complete opposite of what Bardstown Bourbon Company is. It truly is. And Ian Stursman, how he orchestrates this entire operation, to see it up close, I just have more and more respect for him and what he does. He took us into the lab and showed us essentially how they grab. Oh, one really cool thing which we did not know. Which and then we'll get to the whiskey after I kind of talk about this real quick. Basically, back in the day when Four Roses and Shenley were together under the same umbrella, Four Roses, as you know today, uses those OBSK, OESV, those recipe callouts on their bottles. Well, that influence is actually shared by both distilleries, even today. Ross and Squibb still uses the same codes. Now, the difference is that we don't get to see them as consumers on the bottles. On the bottles, we just see the mash bills. It's called highest rye. It's called, we know they're 21%. We know they're 95.5, whatever it may be. That's what we see. But on the barrels, it's actually coded just like Four Roses is. So if you see, Four Roses OBSK or whatever. On the Indiana barrels, it starts with an L for Lawrenceburg. So Lawrenceburg is L. And then you have certain codes after that. Like I think one of them was D, one of them was E or I or something like that. And each of those letters is coded for their mash bills. So they do some of the same recipe coding that that Four Roses does. They just don't advertise it that way, but it's all done internally like that. And you see them on the front of the barrel. So that was a cool tidbit we did not know. And another cool thing that they do, which is pretty old school, is most distillers, if you've ever been on a tour, will have pallets of dry yeast hanging around. So dry yeast to pour right into the fermenter to get all these, to get that entire batch of fermentation going, to turn those grains and those sugars into alcohol. You know, Ross and Squibb or MGP, whatever you want to call it, they do it kind of the old school style, where they take one touch of I think he called it a side. What do you call it? A sideways vial of their yeast strain. They basically take small little Q-tip and they literally take. I mean, he just touches it, just drags it. On top of that, he puts it into a vial, and then he inoculates it, and then that grows for I think like a couple days or a week or something. I forgot what the timelines were. Then that will get transferred to a bigger vial. Then that has to grow, and then that will go into another big vial. Then that has to grow. And then eventually we'll go into a jug where that will grow. And then once that jug is filled, that gets poured into the to the batch for fermentation. It's not just one easy thing of dry yeast. Because back then, when they were making all these whiskeys, dry yeast wasn't as effective as it is today. It wasn't as dialed in. So they have to do it this way. And they have to keep doing it this way to keep those flavor profiles going from beginning to end. So it's just an incredible experience. And yeah, oh yeah, we also tried the Remus Repeal 7, the finished blend. The proof is going up to 101, it looks like, and it's really good this year. So we'll see how it goes. Let's see. Does Ross and Squibb distill more than Jack Daniels? You know what? He did not. I don't think he said the amount of gallons they're putting out, but I could tell you that just the sheer amount of mash bills and they're distilling mash bills that we didn't get to see. We don't even know about. He's got mash bills for days that they're creating. So I don't know if it's as big per day as Jack Daniels is, because I don't think they have as many giant stills as Jack does. Because remember, MGP isn't feeding the entire world like Jack is. However, they are far superior to Jack Daniels when it comes to the amount of mash bills and the amount of different things that they're doing. Even Jack Daniels, Jack Daniels has been around since the 1800s, and a lot of that place has been completely modernized. The grounds are beautiful. There's a visitor center, historic pathway you can go to. MGP has none of that, none of it. So if they were to actually build that, which I think is their plan, they would have to build it like far, like off-site from where we were, and create something along those lines to get people in the door to see exactly how it works. So true once-in-a-lifetime experience, and an incredible day of picking barrels that are really unique, and coming to all the supporters. So incredible stuff. And, obviously just to hang out with all the guys with 21090, Dusty Dan, Bourbon of the Week, Scott, and, meeting Josh for the first time from Stuff and Whiskey. We had a blast, and all those competing palates trying to choose a couple of barrels. It actually went a lot smoother than we thought it would. So, yeah, Jim Beam is the largest. I think Ian had said that they were the third or fourth largest. It was either 3 or 4. MGP was. So yeah. Let's see. Long live Dusty Dan. Yeah, that's right. Doesn't Jim Beam do the most? Yeah, I think Dusty Dan. Dusty Dan. I think Jim Beam does. Thank you for sharing that experience. Yep. So no Penelope at the Master and Drum. The only Penelope that we selected was the cast strength rosé finish. Actually, I don't know if it's cast strength, but it's a much higher proof than the standard bottling is. So, all right. Yeah, it makes sense. Beam, Jack, NGP. Yeah, I think that's what it is. But just, I mean, the amount of stuff that they make was incredible. I mean, he has mash bills for days. Days. What's the oldest you tasted? Says Whiskey Uncensored. I think the oldest was it the 10-year? Might have been the 10-year rye, I think. Might have been one of the 10-year ryes we did. We didn't taste anything super old, but Ian kept bringing us samples of like low wine, high wine, like the different taste profiles from beginning to end for a lot of the 95.5 stuff. It was really cool. We got to try the Remus 7 also at full proof. And I actually like the lower proof better. Had more viscosity, had more going on. Just because it's a higher proof doesn't mean it's always going to win. Cheese, did you try the Bambino? No, did not try the Bambino. Actually, I forgot to ask about that bottle. Yeah, we didn't get to try that one. Yeah, we tried both of the new Remuses, which was good. So, but Dusty, I don't. It was the 9, right? Was it 9? I thought it was 7. What are they up to? 5, 6, 7. Which Remus are they up to? 8 or 9? Which one are they up to? I don't even remember. Yeah, barrel proof and normal proof we did. Yeah, it's Remus 7 or 8. I forgot which one it is, but yeah. We got to try the new one, whatever the friggin' number it's coming out. Tim Corney, no Rio was there. No Rio. But I did bring a bottle of Rio for my girlfriend Kim to sip because she loves Rio. 7's okay, so it's gonna be 8. So 8 is the one that we're gonna see that we got to try. Both at barrel proof and at the proof down version at 101. And honestly, the 101 was better. All right, so 2 Larceny Barrel Proofs, the new one. We have B523 and the B524. JG, we're talking about Ross and Squibb or MGP. It's like Rocky movies. We have 2 JGs in the chat. What are the odds? Yeah, these barrels are going to be second to none, guys. These are going to be absolute hitter barrels. I don't care who's picking what. These barrels are insane. Just all those pallets that are picking them, they are. And when you have a group like that is actually came to a pretty good consensus on most of them, we were pretty dialed in, especially at MGP. We all were pretty. There were a couple of ones we were arguing back and forth on, but for the most part, we were pretty dialed in on all of them. So, all right, B523 Larceny. Lots of caramel. This one was really sweet last year, and I really liked it. Damn. Let's see here. Hey, what's up? Egg rolls here. Yep, Epic Crew to pick barrels with. Yeah, it was an incredible time, guys. I mean, just I can't say enough. And on top of that, they are going to provide. They film the whole experience, so all the channels are going to get raw footage of what they filmed, and so we could kind of cut up a video, and you guys will see all the footage that I think Josh, myself. Chad from It's Bourbon Night, we were kind of, taking a lot of video and a lot of photos in order to cut up a video, the entire experience. So you guys will see some really cool behind the scenes videos of it when the time comes. And that was all, again, part of the experience for everybody, which is incredible. Yeah, it'll be We Are the World video. Yeah. Larceny Royal Rumble video like you did with Elijah Craig 922 to now. Ah, that might be a good idea, Quentin. I got to say, in the comparison, I might still like the B523 a little better. Yep. I think the B523 is just, I think it's still king. It is so friggin' good. Because you know why? The B523, I think, has some great spice, especially for wheater. Good proof point. I think B524 has a lot of that too. I will say B524, I'll take this over A124 all day long. However, B524, I think what it's missing is that extra saturated sweetness that the B523 has that balances out the heat and the spice. So I think for me, B523 kind of wins out. However, if you want more of a spice-driven whiskey, again, I think the B524 might be your kind of the way you want to go. However, I do still feel like that B524 is a really good batch. Is it as good as B523? To me, in this head-to-head, I'm leaning towards a B523. It's just more balanced. That's really what it comes down to. It's so good. Vegas birthday, 12 friends, 3 nights. How many bottles? 12 friends, 3 nights. You're going to need at least, for 12 people, you're going to need at least, always cut it in half. So if you have 12 friends, bring 6 bottles, 3 nights, you're going to need 18 bottles at least. That's the rule. I just made it up, but that's the rule. That's the rule. Do Elijah Craig and Larceny purposely make their C batches the best since they came out during peak whiskey season? WD here, that's always kind of the prevailing theory. I don't know if that's true, but historically, depending on who you are, but historically, for the majority, I'm not saying every single year, A batches tend to be the least liked from the 3 that release each year. B batches are weird. Sometimes they can be the best, and sometimes they're what they are second, with the C batch usually being everyone's general favorite. I'm not saying it's for everybody. I'm just saying the majority of folks that you talk to tend to like the C the best out of all 3, and it seems like it has become a bit of a pattern. We'll see if it happens this year. When we talked to Connor O'Driscoll, he said that the batches aren't planned that way. He said that they let the barrels they have do the talking. I still kind of find that hard to believe. I still feel like bourbon is always future focused. So you're always figuring out what that next thing is, what the next plan is, what you're going to be, what your next release is going to be. I find it hard to just kind of wing it for each release. There has to be some mindset that goes into it a bit, saying like, okay, well, we made this one. Let's see, do we want to add younger barrels, older barrels? How does this work out? I don't know. I mean, maybe it's not. Maybe I'm overthinking it. But I do feel like there has to be some planning involved. I don't know. That's just how I feel about it. All right. Who you calling a biatch? ADHD. A biatch. Did I say biatch? B-batch? Biatch. That's pretty close. Coy Hill at 142.3 proof for Russell 15. Good trade or bad trade? Damn, that's tough. Tom Harper, always take what Jason says and square it. Jade too. At least 324 bottles. Tom Harper, yeah, bring 324 bottles. That'll be plenty. Coy Hill, 142.3 proof, and for Russell's Reserve 15. Good trade or bad trade? I don't know. What say you, chat? What do you think about that trade? Should he pull the trigger on that one? What do you think? I personally wouldn't trade the Coy Hill. That's me. I think the Coy Hill is just too special of a whiskey. Even though it's a super high proof, that is liquid Jack Daniel's extract. That is extract in a bottle. I don't think I'd trade it. Whiskey Saint says, I'm keeping the Coy. Tim Cornet, you coming to Pours? No, I can't come to Pours. It just coincides with my work schedule right now. If it was a little bit later, I'd probably be able to do it. Unfortunately, I can't go this year, and I'm really bummed about it, to be honest. Yeah, I keep the Coy. Keep the Coy. There you go, Everett. This chat has spoken. Keep the Coy Hill. 363 in the chat, guys. Thanks so much for the support tonight. Let's go to our next voted on matchup here. And this is going to be the Smokeye Hill Barrel Proof versus George T. Stagg. This seems to be one that, well, should I? Maybe I should do some lower proof stuff first before I blow my palate out with those. Maybe we'll save that for a little bit later. Well, actually, I did put a poll up in the chat, and let's see what the. Well, that one won anyway, so we're gonna do that one anyway. All right, Smokeye Hill versus George C. Stagg. That won the majority, so that's fine. All right, let's see what we get here. Our Jack number 8 and 13 Warehouse Special are only the upper tiers of those. Jack number 8 and 13 Warehouse Special are only the upper tiers. Wigmaster, yeah, the upper tiers of the Jack warehouses are usually pretty hot, so that's why they get some of those really high proofs. So, and a little bit of a tidbit of information I got about this bottle. You know why this shit is so dark? Apparently, there were barrels in this batch of this 15-year-old Russell Reserve that were used, that were put all the way up from the tippy top of the rick houses. I don't know which warehouses they were, but some of those barrels were only about 5 or 6 gallons deep in the barrel, which is nothing, and in excess of 150 proof that went into the Russell 15. I can't say where I got the information from, but it's the truth. Crazy shit. Yeah, I mean, I heard that and I was just like,
I'm Ron Burgundy.
I had no reaction. I had no idea what to even think about that. But that's an insane amount of proof for a Russell's barrel. So just a couple of little tidbit of information you get here on the Mash and Drum, just kind of help you guys out. Okay, I'll pay money for a 200 milliliter of that turkey Coy Hill. I know, right? That's what made me think about it, Nathan. We were talking about Coy Hill, and then I'm thinking about those high proof barrels I heard of that's in the Russell's 15. I mean, that's why this shit is so dark. It makes sense. Because 15. I mean, you take Calumet 15. I mean, it's not even close. The color of it. Do I have one here? I might have one here. Hold on. This is Calumet 15. I mean, look at the color difference. I mean, you could kind of see through this one. This Russell's, you can't even see through. That's crazy. So those high proof barrels definitely did some stuff, man. It's crazy. Didn't know barrels could get to over 150 proof, but the low entry proof that turkey does is, yeah, but I mean, it matters if it's all the way up in the highest, parts of the rick house for that long. And remember, 5 to 6 gallons, you're taking a 52 gallon barrel. I mean, you're losing so much angel share. That's insane. The evaporation from 52 to 5 or 6. I'm sorry, 53 to 5 or 6. That's crazy. 150. I know a guy. Bada bing. That's right. Syrup. First time catching a live. Evening all. Enjoying a stogie and old fashioned talking bourbon. Cheers. What's up, Sydney Butler? Thanks so much, man. ADHD says, if I were Bruce Russell, I'd have a tornado shelter filled with 150 plus proof turkey. Right? Gosh. I'm telling you, I'm going to Wild Turkey at some point in August to do some barrel picks. That is the first thing I'm asking for. I was like, look, man, I heard there's some of those 150 proof proofers up in the rick house. Where they at, Bruce? I got to try to get Bruce on the channel too. Who wants me to have a little chat with Bruce Russell on the channel? It'd be pretty cool to get him on. It's a little bit more tricky because of Campari, but that's something I definitely need to try to do. So yeah, Turkey is putting out the best bourbon right now. I mean, you can make that argument. They're also putting out the most expensive bourbon right now. I mean, it's crazy. So, all right, let's go to a couple of matchups that were voted on. First one up here. So somebody voted Green River Full Proof Bourbon versus Old Forester 1920, the newer bottles of Old Forester 1920. So let's see how this goes. That's true. I do always find the short barrels. I wonder who's getting the barrels for finishing. I can afford that whiskey. Don't let Campari know there's 150 per. Yeah, don't let Campari know. Yeah, Campari will definitely do some kind of I don't know. What would they even call that? Could you imagine? Could you imagine like in the like they do a Master's Keep that's like 150 proof? They just call it like Master's Keep burnt turkey or something. Crispy deep fried turkey. They call it deep fried. That's what it'll be called. It'll be the deep fried turkey Master's Keep. Everybody would go crazy for that shit. I'm giving Campari ideas. I should shut up now. I should totally shut up. No, maybe my friend Abraham Lincoln can help lead you to those barrels. What? I'm not getting the hate for turkey pricing. Russell River 1998 was $250 in 2015. That's the same price of Russell River 50 now in 2024. And Weller for $7,500. Come on. Well, I mean, I don't know about you, Rare Bird, but whenever I do a turkey review, whether it's the Camp Nelson, I would say it's probably more for Master's Keep. Probably more for Master's Keep than anything. People do not like Master's Keep for $300 nowadays. It just there's no way around it. Saying turkey is expensive is Rare Bird's bat signal. Well, but here's the argument though, Rare Bird. How many people find it at retail? That's the problem with Russell's. And this kind of happened with the you go back to the Bottled and Bond 17 when stuff started getting flipped from Wild Turkey. And now Russell's 15 comes out, and the first thing, when they got released in the gift shop, secondary, 500, 600, 700, 800. It's not that I don't think people are complaining about the price. Listen, for $250, that Russell's 15 is actually an amazing value, I think, especially for what you're getting in the bottle. It is an incredibly delicious whiskey. However, the fact that most people aren't going to find it for that price, I think, is the issue. Master's Keep, though, for SRP being $300. I was just at whatchamacallit the other day, yesterday. It was just at Party Source. They had just gotten Master's Keep Triumph in there. On the front, on that side desk, it was stacked. Nobody was buying them. Nobody wants it for $300. It's just the truth. And it sucks because it is a really good rye whiskey, but no one's buying it for $300. I think the Master's Keep needs to, I don't know. I'm not understanding the pricing model between Master's Keep and like the Russell's picks, just because, yeah, Turkey has done all they could. It's a huge release, the 15-year. There's a shit ton of barrels that went into that batch. So, hopefully people get lucky and find it. So, oh yes, thank you for reminding me. Whiskey Mountains does have a July 21st fundraiser. You could enter anytime, happily taking any prize donations. All links, prizes, and details are at that link right there. And I did download the flyer for you guys to check out. So Whiskey Mountains, who has been doing a lot of great things the last couple of years to help end Alzheimer's. Let's see, $5 entry. Enter and see all the bottles and other prizes here. WhiskeyMountains.com, link in bio. So guys, go check it out and please support Whiskey Mountains and her goal to end Alzheimer's. That holds a certain special place in my heart too, with my grandmother battling some of that. So yeah. So thanks for sending me that. Let me click off of that. There you go. Back to the comments. I did not see a single bottle of Master Turkey Master in Louisville, but for $300, I wouldn't have bought one anyway. Yeah, it is interesting. It seems like when manufacturers charge secondary, it's not something whiskey drinkers take lightly. If a store does it, it's free market, not taking sides, just observing. Yeah, here's the other thing, especially now, I get more, I'm not going to say complaints, but I get more comments about the high prices of whiskey now than I have ever gotten before. It seems every single video I do, if it's over like 50 or 60 bucks, people are like, I'm not paying over 50 for that. I'm not paying over 60 for that. No way. Too high. Whiskey prices are ridiculous. Blah, 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 blah. Like, why wasn't this like 2 or 3 years ago? Nobody gave a shit. Everybody was paying for everything and buying up all that they could. But now it's an issue to everybody. So I can't blame the distillers for capitalizing on the popularity of whiskey. I do think, obviously, that there are some outliers there. There are some, folks that are charging just way too much for what their stuff is. I mean, you still see 4-year, 5-year MGP that's like proof down to like 90 being sold for like $100. I don't know what those people are thinking and how they think that that shit's going to sell. There's no way. But there's definitely outliers. I do think that there is an evolution happening in the way people are looking at bourbon pricing these days versus where it was a couple years ago. It's just not the same. People are definitely more cost conscious, and they're looking at what they want to spend, and they're trying to get the most value out of a singular bottle. Some people are just done with the chase and getting all these bottles that are $200, $250, which seems like it's for every single release. And this is what's going to happen at the end of the year. A lot of the favorite bourbons are going to be ones that have a high age statement that are high priced. And look, I understand that there's really, really good bourbons that are available on the shelf, and that's fine. But you can't say that a lot of the superior stuff that comes out at a high age, it's a little bit more limited. Not all of them, but most of them are better than what you're going to find on the shelf. And that's what people are paying for. I'm not saying they're all like that. There are definitely some ones that I have not. They're definitely overpriced that are not worth the money. I would actually put Master's Keep Triumph in that category. I think it's a great whiskey. It's very sweet. I don't really get much of a finish on it. It's okay. If you drink it on its own, it falls a little bit flat, especially on the finish of it. It's very sweet. I do not see that as a $300 rye whiskey. Sorry. I had the opportunity to buy one yesterday for myself. I passed. Because why? Because the Russell's 15 came out, which is a way better value and a far superior whiskey. I know it's like apples and oranges, but when you have 250 in one hand and 300 in the other, you're gonna try to find what that better value is. And for me, that Russell's 15 is so far my favorite bourbon this year, and it's probably gonna end up as a number one on a lot of lists this year, maybe even mine. We'll see how it does. Once people started falling in love with and following Masters, Distillers, the pricing all went to shit. I may love the Russells, but it's love for them that screwed us all in the end. I don't think it's the love for them. I think it's Campari figuring out that what they had. I've been saying that for a long time. Past someone at Total Wine in Milwaukee, the community has never been more educated. Yeah, I think that's a big part of it too. People are emotional about drinking now. That's a bad precedent for consumers. A few years ago, everybody got the free money. Yep, that made a big difference. Jason, you are growing, and now prices have gone up generally. So living expenses are up, and whiskey prices are up too. Exactly. It's economy. There's a lot of different factors that go into it, for sure. Let's see. Total Wine's crazy. Right, Jason. Producers aren't blind to the secondary. Yep, for sure. Foregate is priced too high. I can tell you, Foregate's struggling right now. They really are. But when Foregate first hit and they were doing all this unique stuff, people wanted it. But now people are kind of taking a step back from all those $200 price points. It's tough. Isn't it? It isn't just whiskey. Most people are having to trade down in just about every category. Yeah, I totally get it. Triumph doesn't drink like an LE, in my opinion. Jeff Winwer, I appreciate your common sense approach to hunting bottles. Inflation is kicking everybody's butt, but someone needs to tell these distillers. I say this a lot, but a shrinkflated bag of chips is $7 right now. Exactly. I paid $150 for the Master's Keep bottle. I'm on 17. Still my favorite Master's Keep ever. Yeah. So there's a lot of that, guys. Listen, it all comes down to what you hold in high value, what you want to spend on what. Because I review a bottle and I say I like it for whatever price point it is, it's my opinion. It's my opinion to go buy a specific bottle of whiskey because I want it and I enjoy it and I'm going to share it and I'm going to love it. Now, if $250 is too high for you, it's always been subjective what you want to pay for a bottle. All I can do is guide you, and other reviewers can guide you on how to spend your money. If you're willing to spend the price on it, is it worth it? Is it not worth it? And that's all it comes down to. So I have one viewer who messages me pretty much every month, and he always asks me, hey, he has his allocated spend for the month for bottles of whiskey. He's got a set amount, and he waits for my reviews to see which ones he wants to buy, whether it's this price versus this price is this price, and he kind of spreads it out over a few bottles, or he blows it all on one bottle. Apparently, I think the Russell's 15 was his one big purchase for a month. So I think he's done. So it's all subjective, and obviously every situation is different, but it's just what you hold in high regard. So And FOMO is always going to be there. FOMO is always going to be there no matter what. And also, you know, the fact that people like to flip and, you know, make a buck. So, dude, I saw somebody got that Weller Millennium, that $7,500 bottle from Buffalo Trace, and he actually lost money on it. He couldn't sell it, and he eventually let it go for like $6,000 instead of $7,500. Actually lost money on the deal. So shit like that's happening. Dr. Spitz says, Jay, I gave up a girlfriend to maintain the whiskey budget. Win-win. Jason, do you use a bourbon app to keep track of your collection? I had a spreadsheet for a long time, but the bottles came in too fast, and I just kind of lost it. Flippers losing money. You love to see it. Yeah, even the flippers are losing money for sure. But that's why when a bottle like Russell's 15 comes out, those guys swarm because they know that's the bottle they can make a killing on if they can get it early. Because a lot of, dude, you could get a George T. Stagg now, even though it's above retail, George T. Stagg used to go for $900, $1,000. You can get one for like $600 now, which is still a lot of money, but it's a lot less. I mean, that's $400 less than it used to go for. So a lot of it's coming down in that regard because people just aren't spending the money on it. They're buying the $7 bag of chips. New Riff headliner for $250 with $125 towards charity. Buy or pass. Like New Riff, but not sure how I feel about asking the consumer to donate $125 to charity for them. Yeah, I mean, for me, as much as I love helping out charities, you know, you're still, man, this is closer than I thought it would be. I don't know. I feel like I would still pull the trigger on that just because I like New Riff and the charity aspect I think is good. So, I mean, you know, a release like that is going to be really hard to try before you buy. So, you know what I mean? Josh Fritz, the secondary Russell's Reserve 15 has come down quite a bit. The cheapest I've seen it is at about $480. That was the cheapest I saw one. But it started at like $900 to $1,000, and it's come down. It's taken a pretty sharp downturn. So, why did Old Forester 1920 get so banana heavy? It tastes like bananas and nail polish remover to me. Oh, what happened to my beautiful Old Forester 1920? It used to be chocolate and cherry gloriousness, and now it is bananas and nail polish remover. Oh, Jeffrey Wack, you're getting the headliner? Yeah, I'm eager to see your review, buddy, for sure. Hey, Jason, what are your opinions on the Rare Character Exceptional Series malt whiskeys? Devin, the few that I've tried have been absolutely stellar. Some of them are just so unique and delicious. But you have to not be scared of that maltiness because it is there. But if you're open to, because no matter what you feel about that maltiness character, every single one that I've had is super concentrated. And that's what I love about it. Bottles of JD single barrel bourbon wine, maybe the most dynamic bourbon rye. Dang it, just help me make my decision. I will send you a sample, Jason. All right, Andy, I appreciate that, man. I like the Green River. When you're talking about proof, 117.3. 117 versus 115. $65-$70 versus $50. I'm taking the Green River all day long, I think. I think the Old Forester has just gotten a little bit too much. I mean, look, if you like that profile from Old Forester, more power to you. But I love the citrus forward nature with that little punch of cherry. That cherry citrus combination that the Green River has is just incredible. And I think as these get a little bit up in age and get to those either maple syrup or cherry forward flavor profiles, these get really special. I mean, the pick we did here, I mean, look at the color difference between the three of them. The pick we did is insane. This is an absolute cherry bomb. That's why we called it Jorge T. Swag. But as far as like just flavors go, the more these Green Rivers just keep coming out, and just, I mean, they're killing it. The flavors, I'll say this, I don't think it's as spicy as the Old Forester. I think the Old Forester, even at 115 proof with that 18% rye mash bill, definitely has a little bit more kick to it. But I think the Green River just offers a little bit more of like pleasing flavors overall. Green River versus Russell's 15. Lionel G won't even be close. Green River is good, but it's not that good. Don't worry, we'll put Russell's 15 against a couple of them here. But for this one, I'm going to go Green River for the win here versus Old Forester 1920. All right. This one should be fun. Somebody had voted on this one. I think this one came up last week. Sagamore 8-year versus Prideful Goat 8-year. Two killer rye whiskeys. Real quick, because we didn't go through any of the news here real quick, but Sagamore is releasing a 9-year-old variant of this. This hit the TTB, and I am super excited to see Sagamore hitting this as well. So we will get a 9-year-old version of this rye whiskey coming soon. Other stuff that I saw, guys, looks like Sealbox is going to be bringing out a 15-year-old straight bourbon whiskey. I don't know if it's actually going to be 100 proof, but it looks like they got some 15-year stuff from Lawrenceburg. Lawrenceburg, what does that say? Kentucky? Oh, Lawrenceburg, Kentucky. So 15 years, 100 proof. So we'll see how that goes. That'll probably be a pretty penny. We have Angel's Envy has released their Cellar Collection label here on the TTB. I'm not really excited about this one, but it's going to be a straight rye whiskey finished in French oak añejo tequila barrels. I don't know. That could be good. I mean, French oak sparks my interest, but tequila barrels does not. Not really sure where you guys land on that one. For those of you thinking or wanting to know what that headliner was, from New Riff we were talking about, here it is. $250 bottle with 125 of it going to charity. So did want to mention that real quick. And also, it looks like we have some new Bourbon Hall of Fame inductees, including Brown-Forman's first black chemist, which I think is pretty amazing. So let me just kind of go through the quick inductees. So here's the first inductee. That is Elmer Lucille Allen, chemist of Brown-Forman. Elmer Lucille Allen was the first black chemist to work at Brown-Forman and quite possibly the entire bourbon industry. Brown-Forman owns major brands like Old Forester, Woodford. Okay, the 93-year-old Louisville native is an activist, continues to elevate African-American with her work outside of the lab. Allen founded the Chickasaw Little League and championed African-American art and artists. So congrats. Next one up, guys, is D. Ford, chair of the Kentucky Distillers Association for the Kentucky Bourbon Trail. We also have Mr. Ken Lewis. Ken Lewis is the CEO and founder of New Riff Distilling. Speaking of New Riff, we also have this guy, Peter T. Lofton, founder of Bardstown Bourbon Company, founded the most iconic Bardstown Bourbon Company, though he sadly passed away in his Miami home in 2019. I don't know if you guys remember that happening, but he did leave behind a legacy that changed custom whiskey production forever, which is well deserved. And then last but not least, that is Mr. Corky Taylor, CEO of Kentucky Peerless Distilling. After spending several years working in financial services, he took the plunge and followed his lifelong dream of resurrecting his family's whiskey company. And now he's part of the Hall of Fame. So congrats to all the inductees. Also, one thing I want to mention, look at this. Finally, I don't know what happened to this bottle last year, but it looks like it's been re-announced. So this is all about Buffalo Trace, obviously. Buffalo Trace has brought back the Colonel Taylor, the Colonel E.H. Taylor Jr. Barrel Proof Rye Whiskey as their limited series release. This was announced last week. Celebrates Taylor Jr., known as the father of modern bourbon industry. So this is, let's see, bottled at 126 proof. This holds a suggested retail price of $77.99. Will obviously be much more than that in stores. The Barrel Proof Rye is the 13th whiskey in the Colonel E.H. Taylor Jr. collection. The oldest liquid in the blend dates back to 2000. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Now they're talking about Millennium again. They just can't stop talking about Millennium. All right, I'm going to get off that. And as always, with any release, Buffalo Trace.
Never gonna get it, never gonna get it, never gonna get it, never gonna get it.
Chances are I'm never going to get it. Never going to get that one. Never going to see it. Maybe, hopefully, I can get a pour of it somewhere. So we'll see what happens. Let's talk about this real quick. This was the top grossing whiskey brands in the United States. Or is this in the world? 10 best-selling American whiskey brands of 2023. So here we go. Top 10. Number 10 is Old Smoky. Number 9, Woodford Reserve. Number 8, Wild Turkey. That includes Wild Turkey Honey from the Campari Group. Bullet is number 7. Number 6 is Jack Daniels. Number 5 is Seagram's. That's Diageo. Or Seagram 7, I should say. Number 4 is Maker's Mark. Number 3 is Evan Williams. Number 2 is Jack Daniels Tennessee Whiskey. And number 1 is Jim Beam. So these numbers make it abundantly clear that Jim Beam and Jack Daniels absolutely dominate the American whiskey scene, selling nearly double the number of product as number 3 through 10 on the list combined. In terms of progress from 22 to 23, the biggest rise on the list was Woodford Reserve, which saw a 9.4% increase in sales. Conversely, Seagram 7 lost the most ground, with its sale dipping by 8.6%. So interesting numbers there. Right there for you. And the last thing I want to show you is it looks like this brand is coming back. That's right, Bourbon Deluxe. Bourbon Deluxe. Now this popped up on the TTB, and this is being brought back by Rolling Fork. And I guess we'll see what happens with this release, but honestly, Bourbon Deluxe was distributed by AMS, or the American Medicinal Spirits Company, back in the day. If you guys remember, the government had given 10 medicinal spirit permits during Prohibition, but only 6 were applied. 6 were applied and granted. American Medicinal Spirits was the only company formed after Prohibition, while the other 5 permit holders were producing spirits before 1920. So that was Brown-Forman, Glenmore, Frankfurt Distilling, Shenley, and the HP at Stitzel Distillery. So of the 6 companies, only Brown-Forman is actually in business today, which is interesting. So Bourbon Deluxe was, during Prohibition, the American Medicinal Spirits. I kind of went through that already. 1934, National Distillers acquired the brand and bottled it for most of the century. 1962, Bourbon Deluxe was distilled at the Seagram Distillery in Louisville and bottled in fall of 1962 at Old Grandad. In 87, Jim Beam acquired it in their portfolio, including Bourbon Deluxe, and moved production to their sites in Claremont and Boston Road. Beam still uses the Old Grandad Distillery as a bottling plant. So there you go. Another brand coming to the forefront. Is Rolling Fork Bourbon any good? Can't say I've had enough of it. Ron Miles, what's up, man? Thanks so much for the birthday wishes. Appreciate it. Evan Williams will always be king for me. Construction workers love the Jim Beam minis. This list never changes. That's kind of true, Alan. It just kind of jockeys. Like the people from number 3 down kind of change positions, but it doesn't really change that much. So, all right. Let's go to this matchup. Another great matchup. So let me throw this back up there. Okay. Is Rabbit Hole Rye for $30 worth giving a shot? Is it $30? Is it that cheap right now? I thought those bottles were like $60. At $30, I would maybe give it a try, but I thought they were more expensive than that. Unless it's on sale or something. Green River Full Proof versus 1792 Full Proof? I don't know how that would go. I only have a store pick, so I don't think it'd be a fair fight, to be honest. So No more resurrection of old labels that have zero correlation to the present. Present day owner, please start your own label. Be creative for F's sake. Can't disagree. Matt says 1934 was a good year. Push started my future father-in-law's Model T that year, and the rest is history. That's why ADHD. He's such a historian. Love him. Yeah, I don't like the revival of the old label thing either. Do something new, man. Come up with your own, because what is that going to be? Just more source whiskey and a fancy label to sell bottles. That's what it's going to be. Okay. Cheers, everyone. Will have to look back at that deluxe Terrence McDermott. Yeah, that'll probably be a. Depends how both bottles have opened up. Seems like Goat is close to a neck pour. Then again, Blue Run. If you want to read an interesting article about Blue Run, look up. I gotta think of the article. He wrote an incredible article about Blue Run today or yesterday, I think. I gotta say, the noses are pretty close here. Did I hear it's someone's birthday since Terrence McDermott? Yeah, my birthday was yesterday. Where does Prideful Goat source their whiskey from? I believe it's Indiana. Yep, Indiana. This is 95.5 rye. So the difference here is Sagamore is a blend of 95.5 and also low rye, and Prideful Goat is a straight 95.5er. I will say, though, this Prideful Goat 8-year has an absolute brown sugar bomb note to it. If anyone's interested, this one that I have is 8 years old. Obviously, this is batch 2, and it's 122.10 proof. I'm not sure what the batch variation is on these or how it works, but that's what I have. And I remember loving this as soon as I tasted it. Jim Vorel. Jim Vorel is his name. He writes for Paste Magazine. You guys got to look up the article that he did about Blue Run. It's awesome. It's awesome. That's all I'll say. Lenny Poet says, "You rock, man. Keep it up. March on to 100K." I'm trying, man. I got to throw a couple of clickbaiters in. I haven't done a clickbaiter in a while. Maybe that'll help boost me a little bit. And this is exactly what I thought would happen. The Sagamore Spirit is more fruit driven. The cherry, the orange, the lemon oil. It's almost like a lemon curd you get. It's really concentrated. Super rich, super dense. There is some brown sugar there. There's a lot of sweetness, but it doesn't have the punch that the Prideful Goat has. The Prideful Goat has way more of a spiciness to it, but it also has a deep, rich brown sugar note. So even though it's sweet, it's a different kind of sweet than the Sagamore. The Sagamore has the sweet, but it also has all this dark fruit goodness kind of layered on top of it. And I also think it's less spicy than the Prideful Goat. Are you a Blue Run fan now? Yeah, no. I told you, after I got that last Blue Run, what was the last one I bought? I wanted to try it was one of the cast strength releases. And I was like, I can't believe I bought this. That was it. I said I would never buy a Blue Run again, and I haven't. I've stuck to it. Clickbait videos ideas to get Jason to 100K. That I will copy to get 70K. Let's hear them. All right, let's get me to 100K and Matt ADHD to 70K. Let's roll in the chat. Here we go. You guys come up with some ideas and go. Yeah, sweet citrus versus sweet dark sugar. Well, Nolan Wren, I think there's more than just citrus here, though. Completely agree with your take on the two. Sweet fruit, hint of spice versus spicy, more earthy with a hint of sweetness. Yeah, that's pretty much top $15 bottles. Okay. There you go. Watch like this happens, and then me and Matt are like releasing the same friggin' videos like for the next like 3 weeks. That'll be awesome. Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's actually a good point. The Prideful Goat does spend a few years in the Texas high heat. Yep. Jason has a secret bunker with Blue Run and Bland's. I do have a few really good Blanton's bottles, but like the overseas ones. Clickbait video. I trade my wife for these 5 bourbons. I'm not married, so I can't do that. You know what? I'll give the nose to the Sagamore. The nose on the Sagamore is just incredible. It's so good. Prideful Goat. I'm telling you, man, this Prideful Goat 8-year, it's hard not to love it. I think if you like more spice, the Prideful Goat 8-year would win out for you, to be honest. If you like more rye forward, more spice, more black pepper, a little bit more of an earthy quality to it, a little bit more of a brown sugar, almost like a kiss of molasses on the very end of it. I think that's you'll be in love with that. But I think the Sagamore 8-year, for whatever reason, with that mix of 2 mash bills, it's just a little bit more layered. It's got a little bit more going on. I don't think it has the spice and the punch of the Prideful Goat 8-year, but man, it's just so layered in flavor. It's hard not to always gear towards it. However, in a blind, if you had a bunch of rye whiskeys, kind of like this, mixed in with the Sagamore might fall flat because this just has so much more spice. It's so much more spice driven than the Sagamore is. The Sagamore has spice, but it's more baking spice. It's more of a clove, cinnamon, with all that dark fruit note to it. But it actually comes off a little bit lighter than the Prideful Goat does. But both are killer rye whiskeys. This came out last year, so this wouldn't really be in the running for Rye of the Year. But so far, this Prideful Goat 8-year is up there for this year. But if that Sagamore 9-year comes out, it'll be interesting to see how it goes head to head. So we'll keep an eye on that matchup. Love it. All right, let's. Oh my God, it's 10:36 already, man. Time flies when you're yapping. Jack Daniel's Sinatra is nothing but old number 7. Yeah. How about JD Single Barrel Proof Rye? Yeah, I think so. That would really depend on the single barrel. D Will, if you get a really good single barrel, I think it could do really well in a blind as well. But you know, the single barrel selections that I've done have been incredible. But I haven't been that lucky with the shelfers. The shelfers that I've bought seem to just be a little bit off. But I've had other people's shelfers that are stellar. Excuse me. So I just think it depends on your luck. Clickbait video. Bourbons that are drain pours. Okay. Bourbon in the barn brawl. Porter versus Jason. Bourbon in the barn brawl. I don't know. Porter's much more spelt now. He might be able to take me. He's got his pretty smile now. He's dropped weight. He's too pretty now. I don't want to fight him. I don't want to wrestle him. In my opinion, this whole conversation around value and the current emphasis on value is what makes Found North so incredible, says Dylan Quay. Yeah, I think Found North is one of those. I think people look over Found North because it's mostly Canadian whiskey, unfortunately. But I think the stuff they're doing is incredible, especially for the ages that you get. I think Found North still remains as one of those if you know type brands. So when are we having our next Jason Porter live? Jason C is not really mash and drum, but AI. I've heard rumors of the 1.75 ER being discontinued. There's a lot of rumors about stuff being discontinued. I heard that Henry McKenna is going to be discontinued, or they filled the last barrels of Henry McKenna not that long ago. My mother's going to be pissed if that's true. Randy over at Bourbon Real Talk released a video that Old Grandad 114 is being discontinued. I have to watch that one. That's been a rumor for years. I'm not sure if that's really true or that's happening. Matt says, wrong, I'm fat again, but cannot financially sustain a blow to my face. Okay. All right, 96 Milli Man. We're going to do that now. I know a lot of people want to do this. They want me to try the Smokeye Hill. So I grabbed this bottle. This was available on Keg and Bottle not too long ago, and I grabbed the Smokeye Hill. Why? Because this bottle won the Ascot Awards, flat out. It was the best whiskey of all the Ascots, of all the awards. Now, myself, along with Matt Porter and a couple of other whiskey tubers, are judges in the Ascots. Now, I look back at my scores to see if I did get... So when you get all the samples for the Ascot Awards, you don't know what you're drinking until the very end. So you taste all your samples blind. All you know is proof, and you know the category that it's in. So barrel proof whiskey, there's an age range, like, 5 to 7 years. Then you get 10 to 12 years. There's finished, there's unfinished, there's small batch, there's single barrel, there's barrel picks. They break it down into all these different crazy categories. So you don't know really what you're getting into the end. Now, Smokeye Hill was in my batch of samples, and I actually rated it a 90. So I gave this whiskey a good score, but what I didn't get in my sample lot was George T. Stagg. That I got a couple of other Buffalo Trace products that I actually didn't rate very high, which is interesting. Like Weller, and I think Weller single barrel I gave like a 78, and regular Buffalo, I think I rated Buffalo Trace higher than... I think Eagle Rare might have been my highest rated, like, general, Buffalo Trace product. But anyway, George T. Stagg was not in my sample pack. So to say that I like this over George T. Stagg, I can't say if that was the case. So we're going to try it tonight. But let me show you the... let's go to the bottle camera right here. Here's the Smokeye Hill Barrel Proof. This is made with blue corn. This is grain to glass. This is their stuff. Fortunately, actually, fittingly, this is their own stuff. Weller single barrel sounds appropriate to score. Real Talk's video was all conjecture and clickbait heresy. Ironic for Real Talk. Oh, it was clickbaity. Okay, because old Granddad Woman 4 being discontinued has been a rumor for years. Let's get close here so you guys can see it. It's barrel proof, blue corn whiskey. We got Abandoned Bourbon here. What's going on, Abandoned Bourbon? How you doing, Brian? Nice to see you, man. Well, single barrel sounds appropriately scored. Yeah, appreciate you stopping in, man. Love Abandoned Bourbon. Great channel. If you guys have not watched Abandoned Bourbon, absolutely great channel. He's got a palate I trust for sure. OGD 114 isn't true yet. Okay. So, straight bourbon whiskey, masterly crafted with heirloom blue corn. This is 131 proof. This is barreled, aged, and bottled in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Smokeye Hill whiskey. Made from a proprietary mash of heirloom blue corn, yellow corn, rye, and malted barley. So it's a 4-grain whiskey. I have the wrong camera on. Sorry, guys. I'm just sitting there talking and you're looking at the bottle. Sorry. Made with a, as I said, made from a proprietary mash of heirloom blue corn, yellow corn, rye, and malted barley. So it's a 4-grain mash bill. Smokeye Hill Bourbon is full of flavor and character. A wild new whiskey for the wild old land. All right. So this is the whiskey that beat out George T. Stagg. So, top 5 bourbons that should be discontinued and go. Willet Pot Still, number 1. Willet Pot Still needs to go. Gone. Bye-bye. I got to think of more. That was the first one that jumped into my mind. That one, go. Bye. Nobody needs you anymore. Okay, I'll think of more. Let's see. Shout out Colorado Springs. There's always room for more roses. Adam, I think I scored GTS, the final score for platinum, before it reaches double platinum. Jason C. for Cena over here. Can't see him. Yeah, exactly. Smokeye is in Source, Lawrenceburg, Indiana. No, it's not sourced, apparently. Well, does it say distilled by? Not chill filtered. Oh, I'm sorry. It is distilled by MGP. My fault, guys. So this is one of those crazy mash bills that's made in Indiana. We were just at MGP. This is distilled in Indiana, but it's barreled, aged, and bottled by Hazelwood Spirits Company, Colorado Springs. So this is an MGP source product, but interesting mash bill. So there you go. Smokeye Hill's MGP. Yep, there you go. Just read that. Sorry. Yeah, Blue Run. I think can kiss rocks. What else am I looking at? I don't know. That's a bold statement. I got to really think about that. Yeah, Blue Run. I could probably live without. I don't know. There's probably like some off brands too that I'm just like Kill the Brown Label Henry McKenna. Nobody wants it. Nobody drinks it. Nobody wants that shit. Is it too early to kill Traveler? We don't need Traveler. It's too. Is it too soon? It's too soon. I think it's too soon. I did hear that Old Tub was going away from Jim Beam. I did hear that Old Tub might be going away. The 100 proof Ball and Bond. I did hear that might be going away too. I don't know. We'll see. No. Oh, Basil Hayden. Yeah, nobody. Well, Basil Hayden has a following though. That shit'll never go away. All right, so Smokeye Hill. Let's talk about it. Smokeye Hill, super sweet on the nose. That blue corn, yellow corn, it's candy coated on the nose. However, now this is non-age stated. I don't know how old this is, but I do pick up a little bit of a youthful note here on the nose. Tilford Flower says Dickel, maybe regular Dickel, but dude, some of those single barrel Dickel products are so good. I don't care what anybody says. Those 104 proof single barrel George Dickel single barrels that are like 15 to 17 years old. Those are some of the best values in whiskey. I don't care if it's Dickel or not. Those are $65. In hindsight, Blue Run wants to charge you $150 to $200 for like 5-6 year shit. So do the math. I mean, this is really candy corn on the nose for me. Strawberry. This one definitely has a bright fruit note to it. Kind of a hazelnut on here too. It's really starting to open up nicely here. All of Total Wine brands. Even though they try to push that shit on you. All right, so on the nose, as I said, candy corn. A lot of that sweetness comes through. A little bit of powdered sugar, a lot of vanilla, strawberry note. I get a little hint of like a bright fruit note to it, and I also get hazelnut, like a Nutella type. Nutella, maybe a little bit of chocolate there. All right, let's give it a try. Cheers. That is fucking good. Wow. However, as I casually pour George T. Stagg, this is 135 proof. I believe this is the 2023 release, I think. Is this from last year? This might be from last year. Wow. Okay, so 2-star. It's in the freaking name. Have you ever seen Brown Eye? 5+ aged in New American White Oak, 30 and 53 gallon barrels. Number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. Non-chill filtered. Abandoned bourbon. What are you talking about? You talking about the Smokeye? Whiskey Nose. Jason C. did an 11 sample blind oak tonight. My live, and the Cedar Ridge Moonlight Graham came in first. Just saying. Oh, thanks for that, man. Glad the pick did well, man. Against 10 others. Holy shit. Yep, Smokeye. Okay, well, there you go. Abandoned bourbon coming in with the information. 5+, aged in New American White Oak, 30 and 53 gallon barrels. Number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5 char barrels. Damn, dude, that's a lot of work. There is a really nice sweetness to the Smokeye, I'll say. But with that said, really nice mouthfeel on it. Good texture. Good spice, especially for something this high corn. No fucking super chats. Let it rain on this man. Thank you so much, Matt. Yeah, man. The super chats. The super chats are sparse tonight. But thanks, man. I appreciate that, ADHD whiskey. And just for that, Matt, you get the I love you.
I love you. I love you. I love you.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you. Adam McIntyre coming in. Happy belated birthday, man. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Make a super brand and let ADHD, Master Drum Bourbon Junkies, and Drums and Drams come together, put together a mega blend, $1,000 bottle. Richard Sneed. Is Smokeye Hill a total wine brand? No, it's not. Oh, Dusty Dan, you did? Oh, shit. I'm sorry, man. I missed a super chat from you, Dusty. How could I miss my buddy Dusty? This is what happens when I'm yapping, Dusty. Oh, my God. Was it far back? Holy crap. I didn't even see it. Got Jeff's. Man, were you even before Jeff? There it is. Dusty, I found it. $84 Smokeye Hill over last year's Stagg all day long. Stagg from some prior years definitely beats it, though. Okay, Dusty. Thanks for the input. We go down. Sending you love from Tucson, says Top Out 23. Thank you so much. Mr. Jiggs, which one? Happy belated birthday, Jay. So glad you didn't recommend discontinuing Jeff the Creed. Wow, do you like that, man? Does anyone actually drink Hudson bourbon? Possibly discontinue list. No way. George T. Stagg's better. No way. Smokeye Hill's very good. I would recommend picking up a bottle as long as it stays under that $100 mark. It's not competing with George T. Stagg. Here's my thoughts on Smokeye Hill. Why I think it beat George T. Stagg is because it has this very, very candy-coated sweetness on the palate. However, my palate kind of picks up this little youthful characteristic on the very back end of it that I'm not going to say kills the experience. I still think it's really, really good. Let's see. Hudson is bad. Hudson is very bad. Chestnut Farms doesn't even sound like something good. Yeah, I wouldn't want to buy Chestnut Farms. Raging Irishman, happy lady birthday. I'm going to be wearing the M&D hat on vacation in the Caribbean next week. Damn, dude. Thanks, Raging Irishman. Candy-coated raindrops. Why I trust you over awards. Most tasters just want sweet. Yeah, I think that's what this is. It's got that really elevated sweetness punch that I think people really like. I think it's done in a way. I know some people had brought up the Balcones, Blue Corn, especially the barrel proof one. That one to me is super sweet. I don't think the Smokeye gets to that level because maybe they use that different combination of char levels. And they use that malted rye in there too. Even at 131 proof, this drinks under that. It drinks sweeter, a little bit more mellow, mouth coating. It's a very, very well-crafted bourbon. It's delicious. I would say if you have a chance to get a barrel proof one of this, I would highly recommend it. But saying it's better than George T. Stagg, for me, yeah, I don't think it's that. This is actually a good point, Henry Turner. You would think the Smokeye would be more youthful, being 5+ years old. I think just to that fact is why the Smokeye is a very impressive bourbon. I do not take it away from the Smokeye. That is a very impressive whiskey for the age. 5+ years old, to have this type of flavor profile to it without it coming off that youthful. The only hint of youthfulness I get is on the very end of it. But overall, it's really good. Smokeye versus Stagg Jr. Could make that happen. Which Stagg Jr. though? I'll just grab whatever one I have here. I'll grab one. And then we'll do one more with Russell's 15. What do we got here? Is this 20, 22B, 23A? Where's one of my favorites here? Let's go with I don't know. I'm gonna go with 20. I'll just grab 22A. I actually think I like that batch a lot. So let's try it out. Let's see how it does against a Stagg Jr. Is the Smokeye better than Old Forester 1910? Dylan, man, that is apples and oranges. Those are two completely different whiskeys. You're talking about a 131 proof bottle versus a 93 proofer. The Smokeye, that 1910 doesn't even have a chance. That's just gonna. I mean, do you want like ultra high barrel proof sweetness, or do you want something more mellow with more chocolatey undertones? That's a tough matchup. I've got to show my man Jason C some love. He sent me down the rabbit hole 3 years ago when he suggested Wild Turkey Long Branch as a good starter. Sean Dent, thanks, man. Did I recommend Long Branch? That's surprising. Let's see here. Aging good bourbon in Colorado might actually work. Most Colorado stuff is single malt, so the jury is still out. That's actually a good point. But I mean, there's a lot of stuff in Colorado that I don't like, but there are some gems out there. I would probably add the Smokeye to the gem list because I do think this is really good stuff. So if anybody comes across a Smokeye Hill Barrel Proof, I would recommend grabbing one. I do think the sweetness and for what you get for 5+ years old is pretty impressive. Eric Perry, thanks for all you do, Master Drum. Wifey wants to walk the beach. Peace and love to all. Keep pouring. Hell yeah, Eric Perry. What 3 or 4 headliners you picking for Master Drum Music Festival? If they were still playing, are you talking about bands that are still together or just like my all-time favorite bands? If they're bands that are still playing, I would say the Killers would probably be my number one. I love the Killers so much. Yeah, the Killers would be up there. Ever had 291? Yeah, I've had a lot of hit and misses though with 291. I've had really good, really not so great. It'd probably be Foo Fighters. Then the Killers. I probably have what else? Yeah, probably have the Killers, probably have Foo Fighters in there. Probably have Tool. And my last one would be wouldn't it be Miley Cyrus? I mean, if they were still around, it'd be Rush. I mean, Rush would be the headliner for me, but I would probably put Tool in there for sure. Yeah, those are probably my top 4. All right, let's go. Creed. When all holes wide open. Yeah, we can get into that. All right, Stagg versus Smokeye Hill. Stagg's darker. Oh, man. Guys, the noses are close. They're close. Both have killer elevated sweetness here. Man, what is that? The Smokeye Hill. That chocolate hazelnut note that I'm getting in this Smokeye Hill is becoming more and more. It's getting stronger here. Milli Vanilli? Weird Al. But the Stagg, man, the Stagg has that cherry friggin' Hawaiian punch, whatever you want to call it. Smokeye Hill. Interesting. The Stagg is 132.2 proof. This one is the 22A. The Smokeye Hill is 131, and the Smokeye Hill drinks lighter than the Stagg does. I'm talking about like pure proof and spice, all of it together. The Smokeye Hill actually comes in a little bit lighter. Smokeye Hill can go right head to head with Stagg Jr. for sure. It's right there with it, I think. Remember, Stagg Jr. is said to be 6 to 8 years old. This is 5+, but it's got those different heirloom corns. It's, you know, people love the sweetness of Stagg Jr., and I think Smokeye Hill goes right against that. I think it goes right head to head with it, for sure. That's closer than I think the George T. Stagg is. That's impressive. I think the Smokeye Hill is a really impressive whiskey, guys. You know, whether you want to, you know, buy into awards, I think, again, my philosophy is awards are as good at, they're really good for brands that don't get a lot of recognition. Are a lot of the awards bullshit? Yes. A lot of the awards are bullshit. Dude, Traveler got a double platinum. Listen, I know I'm part of the Ascot Awards. I didn't get Traveler in my sample pack, but how that got a double platinum, I'll never know. It's bullshit. Don't agree with it. That's fine. However it got it, it got it. Whoever liked it that much, it got a double platinum. But if you're talking about brands like locally here, like High Bank here in Ohio, that doesn't get the recognition that other brands do, but does because of like the San Francisco Spirit Awards. I think it's great for some younger brands that are doing things, that are doing great things. Barrel King got a ton of different medals for the Ascot Awards, which is fitting because they're doing incredible stuff too. You know, shout out to Matt Porter working with them. Jason, do you pour what's left in your glasses back in the bottles at the end of streams, or chug and slam and go do karaoke? I wish I could do karaoke. Sometimes I blend them and see what happens, and sometimes I just kind of leave them be. Smokeye is for someone who'd be down with James Pepper Decanter, 13 Colony, or Still Austin Blue Corn, Bottle and Bond. I could definitely agree with that, I think, Brian. I think there's definitely a market for it. I would actually put it closer to a James E. Pepper Decanter, but even more power. I don't know. It's like somewhere in between that Still Austin you mentioned and the 13 Colony, where it falls. It's a really sweet, delicious bourbon, but it just lacks the age and the depth that a lot of the older bourbons like a George C. Stagg would have. But I think it could go against a George C. Stagg, depending on the batch. This is my only bottle. I don't know if there's a lot of variance in this from bottle to bottle. The proofs are different. So we'll have to see. As this ages up, this could be something really special. So we'll see how it goes. But if you guys get a chance to try the Smokeye Barrel Proof at Cask Strength, give it a go. All right, in the chat right now, I need, what do you want me to put Russell's Reserve 15 against? I already have George T. Stagg poured right here. Give me a third option, because I'll do Russell's 15 versus George T. Stagg and something else. So give me one more thing here. And then we'll shut her down for tonight. I'm going to crack open my Russell's 15 here. All right, GTS, yes, GTS. Yep, GTS I already have. What should be the next one? Malort, yes, Malort. Let's go Malort. Elijah Craig, 23. Rebecca Creek, 16. I wish I had Rebecca Creek, 16, but I don't. I do not have that one, unfortunately. Calumet. Russell's 15 versus the Bottled and Bond 17. Oh man. You know what? That's a good idea. I have to go into the bunker though and get my 17. I don't even have one in the whiskey room. I do not have one in the whiskey room right now. That's a good call out though. CNF HH17. You know, I do have the 17 probably ready to go. I could probably do that. ECBP C923. A lot of votes for the Heaven Hill 17. So let's do that. All right. Let me grab that real quick, guys. We'll finish off the night with a banger. This will be cool. Oh, all right. Oh man, this is a triple base for the ages right here. Heaven Hill 17 versus George T. Stagg versus Russell's 13. I'll have to do this again blind, but I'm just gonna wing it here tonight, guys. I'm not gonna do the stickers and everything, but let's go here. I know there's a lot of subjectivity in whiskey, but I gotta say I think there's almost some sort of objective truth. I just can't see how someone could say they like Redneck Riviera more than Age 17. Well, they do if they put the price on it. Yeah. Next time me and Nikki P are in Columbus, Krista Nolan. Next time me and Nikki P are in Columbus, yeah, let me know. All right. This triple base is your next clickbait. Well, it's happening right now, live. So, all right. So we have Heaven Hill 17, George T. Stagg from 2023, and Russell's 15. All right. First, let's go to the nose real quick. And guys, again, thanks so much for hanging out with me tonight. We had almost 400 people watching tonight at one point. Make sure you hit that like button here. And again, thanks for all the support and all the birthday wishes. You guys are the friggin' greatest. Stay tuned. Hopefully next week, trying to get Nancy Fraley on. She sent me a very interesting batch of samples that we have to go through. And I'm scared yet excited. So we're gonna see if we could get her on next week. If not, we'll do something else fun, and then we'll go from there. But she's gonna be coming on soon. She sent me like this mystery box of stuff, and I cannot wait to taste through it. So, all right, let's go to the noses first. The Russell's 15. Gosh. The thing that the Russell's 15 has is not only like a concentration of sweetness, but it has this rich dark fruit, plum, raisin, chocolate, but it also has this old school, like if you've ever had something like in the 90s from Wild Turkey, it just has this old school Wild Turkey thing to it, man. You're hitting the gym looking like the Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Happy birthday, buddy. I have been hitting the gym. I have been working out. So hopefully it's coming through here. I'm trying. My goal is to get, I don't know if I could ever get shredded just because I just don't have the time, but I'm going to at least try to get, what is it, like semi-shredded? Semi-shredded. Let's go to George T. Stagg. George T. Stagg, surprisingly, might have more brown sugar than the Russell's 15. However, the Russell's 15, it just got that turkey funk. But I think the George T. Stagg is actually a little sweeter. I think Russell's 15 actually has more of the oak influence, which reminds me a little bit of the 17. You know what? We'll do that next week. If Nancy doesn't come on next week, remind me in the chat next week to do to break out my bottle and bond and put it against the Russell's 15. That'll be cool. Is it today that's your birthday? Because it's mine today. Happy birthday, brother. Casket salesman. Cheers, man. My birthday was yesterday, but happy birthday for the day after. Nick Foles says, I've been doing cannoli curls. I have been. Just getting 10 cases of cannolis and just fucking curling it. All right. Now the Heaven Hill 7. Oh, my God. This is so good, but so bad. Wow. The Heaven Hill 17 is old funky Rickhouse. Old funky Rickhouse. And coming off these two, you really get that Heaven Hill nuttiness that's coming through here. Holy crap. This is all just leather. This leather, old oak. A little bit of a rye spice kick on here too, man, and I still get. which is interesting because it's only 10% rye. But that nuttiness is so there. Probably the least sweet out of the three. George T. Stagg. George T. Stagg, this one literally smells like friggin' Hawaiian Punch. And the Russell's 15 is kind of a combination of the two, where you have all the age, you got some sweetness, some dark fruit. All right, I'm going to start on this side. I'm going to go Heaven Hill and work my way down. Heaven Hill 17 is again, it's a little bit of a throwback whiskey. It's a little bit of a throwback bourbon, I should say. It kind of takes you back to some of those old funky bottles from like the 1990s, 1980s. It's got a ton of just rich leather, sweet tobacco type of notes to it. A little bit of the chocolate, the hazelnut note, that nuttiness, I should say. Maybe not so much a hazelnut, but maybe a little bit more of like a bitter, semi-sweet chocolate type of thing that it's got going on too in the back end. Damn, you don't need time to get shredded. Just stop eating. That's true. You just gotta stop eating. That helps. The Master Drum, I sampled a few too many barrels of Barrel King and then started telling an absolute monster of a human being what type of back exercises he should do. I'm sorry, Joe. I saw you did that trip, man. That's why we got to talk, man. I got to talk to you about what barrels you're working with over there. I know they're starting to get some older stuff, man. Yeah. 2023, 130. Yeah, that's the one I got in Man and Bourbon for the George C. Stagg. It's 135 proof. Oh, man. So the Heaven Hill 17, it's got so much going for it, especially with like that older type of profile, the older, type of a throwback bourbon profile with all the leather, tobacco, rich caramels, vanillas, but a lot darker, a little bit drying on the palate. There's a good oak presence here. Again, a little bit more of that nuttiness, kind of like that, almost like a smoked almond note from the barrel char coming through. Really, really good. All right, let's go with the Stagg. Gosh, coming off the Heaven Hill 17, the Stagg almost comes off finished. Like the sweetness level of George T. Stagg is through the roof, especially coming off the Heaven Hill 17, which is so oak forward and so rickhousey. This is like drinking pure sugar. All the sweetness is on the front end. You get a lot of the ultra aged oak on the back end, but it's not nearly as prevalent as it is on the Heaven Hill. Abandoned Bourbon, let me know if you're available next week on Wednesday. I would love to have you come on and we could collab a little bit. I don't think you've ever been on the channel before. I really respect your palate. So let me know if Nancy doesn't come on. Let's collab next week, man. If you're available next Wednesday night. I don't know if you are or not. But yeah. So who's going to Bourbon in the Barn? I'm getting worried I will have to hang out with Dan and Sean more than I want to. This is Tommy D. Oh, man. Wayne Arnold. I reviewed the little book already. I did a full review of that one. Yeah. Hey, should be. Let's chat. All right, Abandoned Bourbon. Yeah, shoot me a message on Instagram or wherever. Scott is here.
It's in the whole solid.
Yeah, Scott was feeling it that night. All right. All right, Russell's 15. This goes back to what I said in my review. Russell's 15, even at 117.2 proof, it drinks lighter. But my goodness, there's so much depth to it. If you're going for punch of flavor, I think the George T. Stagg would win for most folks because it's got a more brute force power to it. And the sweetness is overwhelming almost when you're coming off, especially coming off the Heaven Hill. What video was that with Scott? Brian, you got to go back a few weeks to when Scott was on the live stream. Yeah, he definitely drank a little too much. Yeah, I think coming off the other two, the Russell's 15 definitely drinks lighter. I think in this lineup, to be honest, for my palate, I might lean towards the Heaven Hill 17 a little bit more. I don't know, man. I mean, there's no losers here. All three are delicious, but this is pretty impossible. The George T. Stagg has the most alcohol influence. You get almost taste the ethanol, but man, is it powerful with the sweetness. It's really like in a blind, I could see people totally picking the George T. Stagg. The Russell's 15, though, is kind of that throwback, which I really love. It's got that old school feel to it, but I also love the old school feel in the Heaven Hill 17. I don't really know which one I would pick. I think the Heaven Hill 17 actually might fall flat a little bit compared to the other two. As far as complexity goes, the Heaven Hill 17 leans really, really hard into the oak profile, the tobacco, the leathers. The oak is a little bit drying. I love the funkiness to it that it's got. The old school funky oak note. A little bit of like that. The barrel char that's in there too. And I think it just provides a little bit of more of a drying experience next to the other two. Omar Fernandez, Heaven Hill 18 over 17. Yeah, I can't disagree with you more on that. I was not a fan of the Heaven Hill 17. I thought that was a very underwhelming pour, especially compared to the 17 for me. I think the 17 had way more going on than the 18 did. Quinn has a great idea. Double base between HH17 and ECBP Pirate Bottle. Yeah, that would actually be pretty stellar because this does fall in line with that. I think for me in this blind, it really comes down to the Stagg versus the Russ 15. Oh my God. I don't want it to sound like a cop-out, but I feel like I like the front of the palate on the Stagg more than the Russell's 15. But the finish on the Russell's 15 beats both of these. The finish on the Russell's 15, I think, is one of the best finishes I have had in a very, very long time. Incredible finish. That's where all the layers and the complexities happen. But like brute force of flavor, the George T. Stagg takes it. So this would be an interesting double or triple base. What would win on this one? Finish would definitely go to Russell's 15. Palate would go to George T. Stagg. It would probably come down to the nose. Honestly, I think Russell's 15, because I'm biased to the turkey funk, probably would win on the nose. But I think Abandoned Bourbon has the idea of the night, guys. That's right. 2 hard-to-get whiskeys. We're going to blend these things. We're going to blend them. We're going to call it a night. Guys, thanks for watching tonight. I really appreciate the support. Thanks for listening to me drone on and on about, my experience at Ross and Squibb. An absolutely incredible experience. Thanks for all the birthday wishes. I can't thank you guys enough for making my day really special. Thanks for everybody that chimed in tonight. There were some new faces in the chat tonight. Matt was here, which made everything even more special. Ron Miles, Brian Tracy, all the other channels that were here. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out tonight. We should have a pretty fun episode next week. If it's Nancy Fraley, we could see Abandoned Bourbon come on. It's gonna be a good time next week, because the next week I'm off again because I'll be in Chicago for my big work event. But next week to sign off, we'll have a really nice, really good episode. But let's see how this turned out. All right. It works. What I was saying about both of them, where George T. Stagg has the palate, but the Russell's 15 has the finish, I think it kind of fills in those gaps for the both of them. Holy shit. That's an expensive blend, but I'm going to drink that. I'm going to enjoy this. So for any of you that want to know what I'm drinking the rest of the night, this is it right here. I'm going to enjoy this blend. Patrons, if you're hanging out tonight, we're going to do a little bit of an after party. And for all of you watching, thanks for hanging out tonight. And as I always say, it's not about the whiskey. It's the people you share it with. Hope you learned something a little bit tonight. Hope I hit some whiskeys you guys were interested in. Stay tuned tomorrow for my my review on Larceny Barrel Proof B524. And Friday for my triple base, where Russell's 15 goes against Single Rickhouse, Camp Nelson F, Wild Turkey Generations, and also Russell's 13. So cheers. Love all of you, and I'll see you next week right here on the Master and Drum. Cheers, guys.